Hey everyone, what is going on, and welcome back to today's video. And in today's video we're going to be doing the successor to the top 5 best attackers that I did previously, and today we're going to be doing the top 5 best defenders in Operation Steel Wave. So obviously this is going to be a new and updated list from the previous list that I did back in Operation Void Edge, I think it was. May have been even the season before, I can't even remember its name off the top of my head. But yeah, this is going to be the successor to that. It's going to have all of the new additional operators in it, and it's just going to be basically a new list from when I last made one to try and include new people, new changes, new meta changes, all that. And hopefully I'm going to be able to make one of these every season, because obviously operators shift around in their skill level, at least in my opinion, over time, but there will always be some that will stick out, like what you'll find out in this list. So the link to the top 5 attackers will be in the description below, and other than that, let's dive into it. So starting off with the first defender on the list, the number 5 spot, I'm going to go give it to Malusi. Now this may be a little bit of a controversial decision, especially since she got nerfed down from what she was at the start. She was very overpowered at the start, but I still believe she brings a lot of utility to the team that puts her in the number 5 position after she was added. The main thing that puts her in this position is obviously just her all-around utility. Her gadget, which is the Banshee Sonic device, is a placeable gadget, if you didn't know already, that you put down and it completely slows down your movements. You can't sprint at all, so it basically disorients you from being able to move and utilize that full ability of movement that you have access to in Siege, because you can't run. And you also have access to, in this ability, a very loud noise that it makes when you're in it, which basically gives away your position completely and puts you in a very bad situation. And this is why majority of the time Malusi has been banned since she got added to the game. No one wants to verse this operator just because she's really annoying and she's quite powerful. So, and especially tagging this along with the fact that she's a 3-speed and has access to Legion's gun, the T5 SMG, it is very difficult to come up against this, because she can be played as a hard roamer as well and still have utility on site, just like someone like a Jaeger. This is what makes her a top tier operator in my opinion. I think she definitely deserves this number 5 spot. I'm kind of putting her on here as the go-to roamer on this list, but obviously there's going to be a honorable mention later on that's going to be like the go-to roamer, I believe, that's like fully focused on roaming. So we're going to get to that later, but unfortunately I think he's about number 6, so he didn't make the top 5. And with Malusi having access to the T5, the Super 90, and the RG15, she has a really great loadout to utilize in her arsenal, and she also has great access to 3-speed, a great gadget, and is just an all-around great operator. And this is why I believe she deserves to be number 5 on this list. Coming in at number 4, we have Smoke. I did leave Smoke off the last list, but I believe that was definitely a mistake. He has been in meta for a while now. He is one of the best anchoring operators you can bring on the defensive side, in my opinion. So his primary and secondary loadout that he has access to in his arsenal is the FMG9 and the M59OA1. The two really good weapons, but in my opinion, I think you should definitely bring the M59OA1, otherwise known as his shotgun, because using this shotgun is really useful for making rotations and utilizing that utility that Smoke has access to, which is that shotgun, because a lot of people use him as a anchoring op, and using this shotgun can save impact grenades, so other people can bring other utility-based stuff like barbed wire, or you know what I mean. So making use of this is the really good strategy in my opinion, and it's just great to bring to your team. And then because most people do bring the shotgun, it's because he has the SMG11 in his secondary arsenal, which is a great makeup and is still a really solid ranged weapon that you can bring to the team, and it will do the job perfectly if you master its recoil control. Yes, it is not the easiest gun to control, we are very aware of that. It is very difficult to use in my opinion, but especially if you just put the hours in, I say this basically every time I get into a gun that has some recoil. If you just put the hours in, you'll eventually get really good with it, and you'll just master it, and that's how, basically just practice, and eventually you'll become an SMG11 god if that's what you plan to be. And along with this, he has access to his gadget, which is the remote gas grenade, which is a very great anti-push device. It is a very great anti-plant device, and it's just really a great all-around thing to play with the anchoring form of Smoke. It's a really good, it just brings together his whole anchoring persona greatly. This is why Smoke is an all-around great operator, and he deserves number 4 on this list, just because he has access to all of this gadget and arsenal together. He brings great utility to the defensive side with his shotgun, because you can make rotations for people. He still can deal damage with the SMG11, and he can basically play really difficult to get a plant down while he's in the vicinity, just because he's very powerful in that state. This is why I believe he deserves number 4, and that's why he got it. So coming in at number 3, there are going to be, from now on, no new operators from the last list, because I still believe all 3 of these guys are top tier, but their ranking has been switched around a little bit since last time because of changes and just necessary things that are required from now on in the meta. So diving into number 3, we're going to be talking about Doc. Doc is still a top tier operator in my opinion. He is my go-to anchor at the moment. Obviously, Smoke is still a great anchor, but like my go-to ACOG anchor, I guess I should say. He's really just a great all-around operator. He has access to that MP5, which is one of the most solid defensive guns in the game in my opinion. He has access to the SG CQB, which is a very strong shotgun if you do choose to use a shotgun, but honestly, if you don't bring the MP5, the P90 could also be used, but MP5 or P90 are definitely the things you should be bringing on the defensive side as a Doc. MP5 is the preferable one in my opinion, bringing in 27 damage on 800 rounds per minute, but having that ACOG just makes it so much easier to hit heads, especially on a defensive side where ACOG is very limited. Doc just brings that all together gameplay and it's very useful to use on the defensive side. I really enjoy using Doc as well because he has access to his Stim pistol. The Stim pistol is a very efficient gadget, the only gadget in the actual game on the defensive side, I must say, that can actually heal your teammates, which is very useful, especially if you're playing with a roaming if you're communicating with a roaming team, or even not communicating, it doesn't really matter. If they go for a roam and do happen to get into a gunfight, get a frag, they come back, that's where your Docs are going to come really in handy because it's going to give them the maximum health they can get so they can get back out there and keep fragging for your team. And just other examples, like you can use them on yourself if you get into a gunfight. Just anyone who gets into a gunfight, you can get their health back up, which you can't do with anyone else. But obviously the problem with Doc is a lot of people do like to roam with him and just use their utility for themselves. I do not recommend this, I just wanted to touch on this now. Try and stay on side if you play Doc. If you do want to roam with an ACOG, I guess I understand that, it's fair enough, but play Rook. Because Rook can put his gadget down at the very start of the round, and then he can do whatever the fuck he wants. I'm going to keep reinforcing this until I die, but yeah, stop playing Doc off site and use your gadget on people who need it, not on yourself, and maybe not even at all, because you might try and spawn peek and just die right off the rip. Play Rook. I just wanted to touch on that real quick, but yeah, Doc is a really good all-around operator still, and I'd really recommend you guys get him, because he just has access to such a great loadout with the MP5, he has the P9 secondary, he has the LFP secondary, two great pistols in my opinion, and he has that gadget that just altogether brings him together. He's a great anchor, he's a great roamer apparently, it seems how everyone does it, and he's just an all-around great operator, and that's why I believe he deserves number 3 on this list. Now coming in at number 2, it is going to be Jaeger. He is not getting number 1 anymore, obviously, because I believe when they did bring him down to a 2-speed, he lost his top tier potential, but he is still obviously a top tier operator, just not the number 1 in my opinion, and the main reason he got kicked out in my opinion was meta shifts, and you'll find out why in the next pick. But yeah, Jaeger brings to the team the 416 carbine assault rifle, which is the best gun on defense in my opinion. I'm going to be honest. It's in my opinion it's the best gun on defense. It hits hella hard, 38 damage on 740 rounds per minute. It is very easy to control, and it's just easy. It's great to use. It's really efficient, and I'd recommend. A lot of people play Jaeger for a reason, and this is why. Jaeger just brings a lot of utility to the team, which we'll touch on in a second, but also his weapon is just insanely powerful, and that's what we like to see. So obviously, before we move on to utility, he also has access to the M870, which is a pretty good shotgun. Everyone likes to use it as a meme, though. Not many people use it actually competitively, but it is possible to use. Any shotgun's possible to use, but you have to be able to play in that sense. Like, not many people are used to playing like with a shotgun because you have to be really close range player to actually make use out of it. And if you miss one shotgun shot most of the time, the little kickback that you have to do to reload majority of the shotguns, unless they're semi-automatic, is basically going to get you killed, especially in a close range gunfight. So yeah, if you're playing Jaeger, in my opinion, you should always bring the 416. You should always bring the automatic weapon over a shotgun, in my opinion, but obviously some people have different opinions, but that is okay. And he also has access to the P12, which is a great secondary, bringing 44 damage on a trigger finger fire rate. This is a great secondary. It's one of the best, in my opinion, P9 along with it. They're both really solid weapons, and I really enjoy using them. And now, along with this, Jaeger brings to the team his utility. As I'm sure majority of you know, he has access to his active defense system, otherwise known as the ADS, which is a deployable gadget you can put on a wall that destroys 2 throwable objects when they become in the vicinity of it, and then it destroys. So, obviously, this can destroy in total 6 grenades or throwable objects like nomads, flashbangs, frag grenades, all that. And it's very useful, and good thing about this is you can put this down basically in the prep phase if you have timing right, or you can do it a little bit into the action phase. There's nothing wrong with that. And then you're basically good to go. You can go roam. A lot of people do roam with Jaeger. Obviously he did lose his 3 speed, so he's not as fast, but he's still a great roamer. I still use him to roam. I don't know if that's a bad thing. Let me know down below if it is, but I think Jaeger's still a great top tier roamer, and he's still a very top tier operator just because of the sheer utility he brings to the team along with power. And just the mix together is what makes him such a good operator, but there is one person above him that I believe is better in today's current game. Now before we dive into the top one, I'm just going to quickly touch on the honourable mentions. I only have one honourable mention for today's video, and obviously it's going to be the best, probably the top tier roamer in this game at the moment, and I believe it is Vigil. In the last video, I said it was Cav. I completely regret that decision. I believe Cav really isn't useful at all. Let me just touch on that real quickly. I just want to go over this with you guys. She brings to the team she has a pretty strong loadout, if I'm going to be completely honest, but all she brings to the team is the ability to silent step. Silent step muffles your movement, but you can still hear her when she's lurking around, unless she is walking at the pace of a snail. Which isn't very good. You can still hear Cav majority of the time. Most of the time you can catch her lacking without her silent step even on, and then she just dies. And her other ability she brings is interrogation. If she's even lucky enough to get an interrogation in the round, majority of the time it turns your team into complete idiots, and everyone just starts rushing everything, and majority of the time, if the attacking team's smart, they can utilize this and just shit on everyone. So all around, I just believe Cav is just not the play in today's game. I just don't know what I was thinking back then. Cav isn't good in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably disagree with me, but I'm just going to stand here right here and say I believe Cav is shit. So now to dive into Vigil. He has one of the best defending guns in the game in my opinion. The K1A is a absolute beast. 36 damage on 720 rounds per minute. This thing just mows through everything, and I really like that. And then in his secondary arsenal, he has two fully automatic pistols with the C75 Auto and the SMG-12, both machine pistols, one being on 28 damage on 1,270 rounds per minute, which is the SMG-12, and one on 35 damage on 1,000 rounds per minute with the C75 Auto. Both of these weapons are absolutely great to back up the K1A, and honestly, he has one of the strongest defensive loadouts in the game, which is what makes him so good. His ability is a little bit selfish, it really only benefits him, but obviously his loadout completely makes up for this in my opinion. His loadout is just godly, so his ability just muffles him from drones. He can't be seen by a drone, which is very useful as a roamer, and pairing this up with his abilities just makes him an absolute beast. This is why I think he deserves to be on the honourable mention. And coming in at number 1, in this list we have Bandit. Bandit is basically the one strong thing other than Cade that can counter hard breaching. Hard breaching in today's game is basically essential on every map, and this is what makes Bandit so useful. And the thing that also brings together this whole utility is his loadout, which is very powerful as well, and pairing this up with his great gadget just makes him a top tier operator, and that's why I believe he deserves number 1. So diving into his loadout, he has quickly into his loadout, he has access to the MP7, which is 32 damage on 900 rounds per minute. This thing's an absolute beast, and I know all of you guys who like to iron sight Bandit's weapon, you guys are used to this by now. So you guys know the power of the MP7, and you know that it doesn't even need a sight to be good. And on the other side, he has the M870, which we already touched on. It's a great meme weapon, but obviously, if you want to play competitively, I definitely recommend the automatic weapons over the shotguns. And then again, he has access to the P12, just like Jaeger. Both of them have that great secondary pistol to back up their primary weapon. And then his gadget. This is the main thing that makes him... It's not the main thing, but it's 50% of the thing that makes him such a good operator. It's his shock wires. His shock wires give you the ability to put on reinforced walls, and then they cannot be hard breached unless destroyed. Majority of the time in this season, Thatcher is banned. Thatcher is banned on pretty much every map, even if he's not that useful. And then that's where Bandit comes in handy. Unless the other team does bring a Twitch, and they're proactive on bringing that Twitch, Bandit is basically to stop the whole hard breaching meta. A prime example of this is on Theme Park in the Throne Room objective. If you have bandits on these walls, obviously you can't get all of them, so that's the only disadvantage, I guess. The only person who can get all of them is Mute. But if you have bandits on these walls, it's basically over. It makes it much easier to hold that site. They have to push through doors that you can hold very easily. This is just a prime example of how efficient it is to hold objectives with these bandits. And that's the main thing that I believe makes him a number 1 operator on this list, and this is why he deserves the top spot. Bandit's just a great all-around, and his gadget is so in meta at the moment because of the whole... Basically, every map gets hard breached pretty much. It's a very useful thing to bring on attack, and Bandit's like the dead set, straight-up counter to that, which is what makes his gadget so useful, along with a powerful loadout and a 3-speed operator. So yeah, that's going to be my list. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to let me know down below, and if you disagree, also make sure to let me know down below, and hopefully I'll be able to attend to your comments, and I'll be able to listen to what you think I got wrong or right. But yeah, if you guys did make it to the end of the video, consider dropping a like and a sub so this video can get more shared around to more people and to get my channel some growth that I am looking for at the moment, because I'm nearly at 10k and I'd really appreciate you guys being a part of that first 10,000 subs. And also, I do stream on Twitch every day except for Saturday at 7:15 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time every day. I'm going to be doing some custom games on Sunday night stream, which is going to be tomorrow's stream from when this is uploaded. So I said this yesterday's video as well. If you would like to stop by, go check out my Twitch, links in the description. I won't be streaming Saturday night, which is tonight when this video gets uploaded, but it's going to be the next day after that Sunday. I'm going to be doing customs with you guys and hopefully get everyone through at least once, and then we'll probably dive into some ranked. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys learnt something. I hope this helped you guys pick some operators if you're looking to buy some, and I hope this gave you some intel on who I believe is the best. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.